We all fear something to some degree. The fear of known or the fear of the future. In some instances, those do collide together, making one meaning. As humans, we tend to distract ourselves from the future or our all a longing death by putting in distractions we call hobbies or, you know, anything of that matter. But it's nothing wrong to distract yourself from the meaning of death or the fear of unknown. We fear something that we don't know. We fear anything of the unknown. Because once you know something, you tend to be easier. You tend to see the world in a different line. Uh, you don't have to be spiritually awakened to figure that out. Uh, this is just a process of elimination or just doing a recurring act at the same time, respecting and thinking you're going to get different results. That can be insanity to some degree, but in other instances, it can help you. We must understand that not as just humans, but as an individual with a mind, we must not stand together just for unity, but we must stand together for a meaning. I truly feel that not only do some otherworldly creatures out there past aside us feel like we have nothing of power, nothing to hold, we have nothing of essence to really be worried about, so we get passed along, right? Somebody that could be super talented, super intelligent, just a well-rounded person is being passed aside for somebody that has a shinier tooth than them. Uh, it causes stress in the mind to truly understand what you're looking for. Even with me, I try to distract myself not only from the unknown but my looks. I don't really harp on it now because I don't really go anywhere to really get get anxious about it anymore. Right now, I'm basically on house arrest, and it's not even my house. So, yeah, that's pretty messed up. Uh, so I wasn't making videos because I have nothing else to do and I'm on house arrest. I guess. The reason I do that because I felt like I was gonna do it in some instances, but I just feel like I did it late. I should have started when I first had reoccurring thoughts of why am I here and what's the point of so-called life. And I never thought it was like a deep meaning. I always thought like writing down your thoughts were corny. I thought having a journal or a diary was too corny. I also thought that having these thoughts were kind of dumb because everybody has these thoughts. I thought everybody had these thoughts, so I didn't feel special. Everybody wants to feel special to some degree. So I stopped thinking like that. I started thinking like that at the age of 13 and 12, but it wasn't really anything serious. So then I started jotting down notes around 15, 14. I was writing little reminders out like if you're reading this now, this technically you should be at this age or these things. Like yeah, I tried to do that, but I stopped because I thought it was corny. Because I always had this mindset: if somebody else is already doing it, I don't want to do it. So I think that was stopping me from evolving. If somebody else was doing the same thing in a different degree, I don't want to do it. So now, even though I know other people are doing this the same exact thing I'm doing, just in a different standpoint or a different way or a different way they say it, I look at it now as if everybody was doing the same thing, wouldn't we have all the same outcomes? So now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, you can be quirky, you can be different all you want, but are you doing it for the right reasons? Do you need a reason to be who you are? Your sense of self, is that the person you think you are or the people or how they portray you? Is it the perception of yourself or the perspective of others? you don't know how people see you. They might see you as a self-righteous cunt because you do things that they don't like, or you could be somebody who hates somebody just the person, it's off their looks or how they're built, or people hate you because you're pretending to be something you're not, or maybe you're not pretending, but they think you're pretending because in one notch of your life you were an asshole, but you try to change, you know. And me, I I was a horrible person, you know. I didn't physically go out to hurt somebody, but my words hold so much power to other people because I used to speak in intently. The tongue is a powerful thing, no matter how you look, how you build. You can be a skinny dude. I was strong. I'm still scrawny, but you can be a scrawny dude and just have some powerful words, and that could hurt somebody. You know, watch what you say. You could hurt your feelings. It's not on that degree. It's on a higher degree. Even as adults, and adults are just us, but just older. You know, there's bro, you gotta see like this. Adults are still experiencing life just like us. They might be a little bit. They might be on this earth a little bit longer, but they're still us in a different version, just in a different suit. So try not to harp on everything, you know. But when I say I hold no hatred in my heart, yeah, I might not hold no hatred, but I still hold trauma. I still hold pain for a person that done so-called evils to me, and I so-called want my get back or I want my revenge, but I don't because what do I gain from making them feel how I feel? I gain nothing. I gain nothing with a solace hole in my body, empty space, right? That could go for any category. If you're doing music, you're playing sports, you're writing a book, you're just chilling, you're you're doing anything. You getting revenge means nothing. But then when I see these deep rooted evil people in my eyes try to do a rebranding, I don't hate. I let them be. But forgiveness does not mean you forget, right? You can forgive somebody, but you don't forget the things they done to you. But maybe that is a petty reason to still hold some type of hatred for somebody. But nobody truly knows. You can't hold somebody in contempt because they want to change, even though you see them as this evil being. But the one thing that really harped on me was somebody would tell me this person is evil, this person is this, that, and the third, and then if we have a falling out, you go to the person that hurted you. So it makes me think, was you just saying that to really only to get me on your side for the moment, but then when that person so called redeemed themselves, you went back to the nonsense? Maybe that's not only for the mind or the body or the spirit, but also when it comes for you to loving somebody else. You must understand not everything you can be nonchalant to. You can, but that's a grimace way to live your life. It's a boring way. That's a horrible way. You suppress all your emotions. Or maybe you're just deeply rooted in trauma that your brain is just manipulated like that, or you think like that. You know, people can tell you something you are and then you're not, or people can tell you something you aren't but you are. Like if somebody told you, "Oh, you're a confident guy," and you're not confident in your eyes, but they think you're confident because you're outgoing, you're fearless, you're encouraging. The words hold much power. So imagine if I list all these categories, right? And then I say this is what that is, but you don't fit that in your eyes, and you be like, "Oh, I guess I'm not." That's the same thing if somebody calls you a narcissist, right? They list off these things, and you're like, "I do that, but not in that type of way." Am I a narcissist, right? Does this man telling me this, does that convert me into a narcissist, to an arrogant person? Um, we don't know. It's love, lust, Lemiris. Three L's. I don't think I pronounced the last one right, but it's really it's evidence. It is evident that we there's no such thing as what's the point of life. We're not set on this earth just to do anything, right? Maybe because we have just a small aspect on our minds, we think everything has a beginning and an end. Some things just might have been here since we were born, and our small brains just put our concepts on otherworldly things because that's how we think. Our minds are so small we can't adapt to anything else. And even me saying that, you might get offended because like, who are you to tell me my mind is small? In some regions, not on just only on Earth, there's probably things out there that cannot be explained, that we cannot comprehend. But it gets to the point where maybe, because I feel like it's kind of conceited to think we're the only sentient beings all around this so-called big atmosphere. Maybe, so who knows? We could just be in a spot where we're just being, studied on and see how we can build and see how we can evolve until we're unlocked to this point. Because I feel like there's a couple things in the world that we don't understand, and that's fine. We can figure it out later on in the years. We can gain more knowledge. But if you think there's a beginning and end to everything, then how do you come to the terms of things that you don't know what starts? You don't know how that started, but you know how it ends. So do you just assume everything has a beginning and end, right? Science, religion, everything has an explanation to some degree. We put these otherworldly explanations on things so we don't go crazy. Our minds need to be set with boundaries. And then if you break those boundaries, you tend to go insane. But when I see like artists and people and music and magicians and stuff like that, they break the barrier to some degree. That's why you see so many people doing these drugs to silence the voices or trying to heal the wall that they broke. Some people can break that wall and they contain it, and some people can break that wall and don't know how to control it and they lose their mind. Me, on an instance, I haven't broken the wall yet. Maybe I'm just regurgitating things I heard over the internet. You don't know. Being self-aware means nothing. It causes depression, I think. We all have a wall, and there's so many walls in our brains that we have not unlocked yet. This is unexplainable. Some things are unexplainable. And I think that's the greatest thing about life. Not truly knowing everything. Not knowing where you're going to go next. Every decision has a reaction. The domino effect. If I do this one thing, later on in the years, will that affect something else? The butterfly effect, you know? It's a great concept. Everything is wonderful in the world, but as there's so much hate and there's so much trauma and there's so much death in the world, we tend to get distracted by that. So we can't even learn how to subside with those type of noises and build up. So the way I see it, you want to help somebody else, but you can't help yourself. That's the same thing in a mass production. You want to help another being or another piece of land, but our land is tarnished and burnt to the ground. How are you going to help somebody else and you can't even help yourself? But maybe it's just the empathy and the sympathy. It's our great hearts. Because, like, you want to give your last dollar to this homeless man knowing you're in the same situation as him. It just doesn't look like that. We do that on a bigger scale. But me talking about it's not going to do anything. You going on the camera and be like, this happening. What are you gonna do about it? You telling me to do something, you're not doing it. You're just sitting down telling me what to do. Where do you get the gall to tell me to do something, but you're not doing it? You're spreading awareness. Yes, I spread awareness about enlightenment, but you telling me to spread awareness about something else that you're not doing anything about, and you want to make me feel bad, but you're not doing anything too. But it comes to the point where I'm just pointing fingers, you're just pointing fingers too. So at the end of the day, did anybody win? No, we're just pointing fingers, and it's not going to stop. That's why I feel like everything's a paradox, right? I don't know what my first album is going to be called. Maybe it's going to be called Paradox. That could be tough. I could be tough. Let me stop. But yeah, back to the serious note. Yeah. Uh, I don't know if it was a vision or somebody told me this, but I got called a underrated visionary. I don't know what that means, and I didn't take it as a compliment. I felt like it was an insult because I was like, my mind is way bigger than that. But maybe that was my ego telling me to shut up, right? I was a underrated visionary or a gem lost in the dirt. But I don't want to feel like that, and I don't want to be a gem. I don't want to be a diamond. You know what I want to be? I want to be a piece of coal that hasn't been put under pressure to be made into a diamond, and that piece of coal has been uplifted into look how intricate this piece of coal is compared to this diamond. Because you have black gems, right, that resemble a diamond, right? A coal. Would you rather be a diamond that is known, but is the surface level, or a coal that's intricate that's put on the top. So I'm not a gem in the rubble. I'm a piece of coal that knows its worth but wants to change it. By not adding pressure to become a diamond, I want to stay the coal. Because the coal can light fires. It can create heat. It can create family. Like, diamond can create hate, hatred, thieves, death. So pretty, but it causes so much damage. A coal can cause damage and love. So can a diamond, but a coal is looked at as disdainful, something that is used but not relished in. Because after that, coal is used up, it turns to ashes. But when that diamond is broken, it's into more. It's might be broken, it might be shattered, but now it's into shards, it's into crystals, it's in smaller diamonds. So the worth has not changed, but it's just in a smaller amount. But I'd rather be a coal because I know my limit is very finite. Modeling is finite. Looks is finite. Everything is finite but knowledge. It might fade over time, but it's still there somewhere. I don't want to be a prophet. I don't want to be a visionary. I might want to be a revolutionary when I am known. But now I'm gonna just make little videos about enlightenment and stuff like that, and then make music. And then if I have enough power and the masses are on my side, then I'm gonna start saying controversial things. Not like anything about this shouldn't be this, but I'm gonna be like, this is what people deserve and this is what people earned. You know? Maybe one day, but right now I'm gonna stay in my lane. I have nothing to do with politics or anything like that. I'm gonna stay in my lane, and my lane is this. I'm too young. People, matter of fact, that's what I told you. That's why I say I'm ageless, because people will try to discriminate, not discriminate, but try to hold you to a standard because of your age. So I'm too young. I even put a limiter on myself when I said that. And I hate that I said that I'm too young. You're never too young to do anything. But yeah, I'm gonna stay in my lane, and my lane is self enlightenment and figuring out why do we question things for some reason just to look deep. Are you actually deep? Are you actually self aware? Are you actually enlightened? Or are you just doing it just to look and portray that type of vision? But all going, uh, I lost it. All going thoughts don't mean anything, right? Being deep doesn't mean anything. Stop trying to force it. But once you figure it out, it's going to be great. So with all that said, I hope this video hits the another one, and look out for yourself.